ringing in the playoffs. Thank you, Kellen. You know,
he's gonna get out of here, no problem.
This is a very interesting late invade coming in now from the side of Hamalife. And you see that Nongshim are thinking about actually fighting here as we got the engage coming on in. This is 5v3 right now. Hamalife are getting smothered here in the jungle.
It's going to be a
double.
double.
Two of them are going to go. And Duckdom gets one, Bay gets the other. What a great start here for Nongshim.
I mean, this is going to be Hanwha Esports playing their early game with one hand tied behind their back. And this is extremely important where those kills went too. One to Bay, one to Duckdom. This makes Bay so much easier to be stable in this lane where we're a little bit concerned about him. But also, it's a lot of early damage coming through for Duckdom as well in a lane matchup that can be very difficult early. So, kind of dropping the ball here a little bit. Nongshim very early on. The trouble bubble hits here from Bay, and that's one of the most powerful tools you're going to have in a skirmish like this. Bay's wrapped around. When you're this far deep, you don't really get an out, unfortunately, as Hanwha. They try to use the crash down engage here, and the sleep catches Deft. He dies. It's going to be late back to lane, and then you can see they give the second kill over here to Duckdom. It is very, very good news if you're a Nongshim fan.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how this is going to be an incredibly hard matchup for Nongshim, but just getting this kind of handicap start for themselves is so nice. It's going to change how this game works out in its entirety. The draft of Hamalife loves to get ahead early to mid, and if you're already starting behind, it's not a good feel. And, you know, Duckdom getting a kill in the Israel, I think, is the biggest thing. I'd be terrified of that guy getting any kind of early gold tier.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive for him. And he started tier, right? So it's like some of those vulnerable moments in lane when you start tier 2, you know, just don't feel as bad now. And that's going to stack up very early on, so he can just chunk with impunity with his Qs nonstop. I'm very, you know, I want to say puzzled, honestly, about that move from Hanwha Esports because it is just so high risk. But, you know, we talked about it, too. You mentioned it. They're now playing from behind in a comp where they need to be ahead early. And I think that was the idea. They wanted to get some early kills to really get this comp going. But it was just the execution was so poor that now they've gone down the other path of being behind massively.
Yeah, I mean, if they could just kind of leave Morgan on an island, set up vertical jungling, and allow Johan to basically terrorize mid lane with the Nidalee Renekton and helping Deft and Vista get ahead, I think that was ideal. And, you know, on paper, seemed like a decent idea. Didn't work out. As now Hamalife thinking about getting in here. We're going to have that stun coming on in as Bay does take a bunch of damage. Even Vista was here, but not going to actually get any summoners even out of position
yet.
Yeah. There's a pretty showcases though.
Cực kỳ quen thuộc chúng ta đã thấy rồi. Tuy nhiên là người chơi đường giữa của team Nongshim rất cảnh giác ở pha.
And even later on, post 6, you know, because of how your ult works as Zoe, like you're very predictable where you're going to land. So hitting those spears is very easy. So you really do have to be careful. But he's done a great job of it so far. Has that early lead, 1 kill, 1 assist, got a little bit extra gold there. As this matchup is going swimmingly so far for Morgan.
Oh wow! But look at this. Peanut is right here on time. Chovy gets in. They're both level 5, so Vlad at this point in the game is not really doing much outside of, you know, he doesn't even have Electrocute. I mean, he's gone Phase Rush, which is pretty standard, but it does take away from any kind of early game plays, and kind of puzzling. Teleport coming in from Hamalife. They're really trying to press the issue with some of these plays.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to really feel like Hanwha Esports have drafted themselves into a corner here with how this game has gone. Because the ability to catch up from here, it's not impossible, but it does force you to make proactive plays like this. And this is something that everybody watching knows. It's something that Hanwha Esports know. That's why they're rotating. But it's something that Nongshim definitely knows and is respecting in their play. And, oh man, this is just going to start to get out of hand. He's got Lost Chapter already. And he is just taking names here with his Paddle Stars.
Yeah. Merc Treads first for Chovy. Definitely a good idea. Can turn around some of those plays on the bubble even. Zoe is very combo based, and Renekton can definitely get in your face after that combo comes in, so Bay is still going to have to be careful, even if he does do a nice amount of damage. Ult here just to clear the wave, get a good back for Morgan. All good and fine.
Yeah, and this has been a already pretty fiery start to our playoffs here, Valdez. I mean, I think that if Nongshim win this series, I almost, and I say this a lot about playoffs and finals, but I almost feel like you have to win the first game if you're Nongshim. Oh man, this is this is just oppressive. And I say that because if you're a team like Nongshim with a lot of rookies that, and actually I say a lot of rookies, not actually, it's players that don't have the same amount of experience as like Deft does on the other side, as Chovy does. But, you know, they have Peanut to keep them in line, but this is their first playoffs. Like, Rich has played a lot of LCK, but he's never played anything like this before. And I think that if you're going to beat Hanwha Life Esports, it's almost got to be momentum-based, where these players are starting to feel themselves a little bit like, okay, we won game one, this is actually doable, we can do this, and then you get pretty excited, you play your best League of Legends, you don't play nervous, you don't play scared.
Uh-oh. That was the portal jump that may just end it, but perfect timing for Peanut to come in and save the day. Not really gonna, you know, look for kills here, but Peanut does pretty much save his life, or at least his flash, in this scenario. Peanut in both the top lane gank that was coming in with the teleport from Chovy and that gank. So he's keeping his team afloat right now in the early game.
He really is, and that's what you have to do when your comp scales better than what Hanwha Life Esports' comp is going to do in general, is you just make sure that you don't lose the early game. Like, that's the goal, is to make sure this snowball doesn't happen. And if Peanut's always at the right time, at the right place at the right time every single time, he's kind of the bodyguard jungle here. He's not making aggressive plays, he's actually just playing defensively. And that's what you should be doing, because you don't want to take those early fights or trades unless you're doing it so defensively. And we'll see some posturing here around the Rift Herald. But, you know, I don't know if they can actually do this right now. Like, even Kellen is rotating up right now.
They overthinking it there a little bit. One thing you got to be careful is to not just portal jump willy-nilly, because against Renekton Italy, you do that at the wrong time, you're just dead. Like, Peanut's not there, you're probably just dead. So you don't want to give any free kills to this duo of Chovy and Johan on the Renekton Italy.
It almost felt like Bay was trying to bait a play there because Kellen was rotating over, but just wasn't able to make it happen. If Chovy had engaged in there and he had hit his combo and he tried to follow up, Chovy tried to follow up, then could have been bad for him. But it's actually been a pretty passive game here, minus the early action, which is not a good sign for Hanwha Life Esports. I mean, sure, they made 2 gank attempts, but neither were successful. And this Kalista isn't crushing the bottom lane like she's supposed to be doing. And that range issue is going to compound upon itself the later the game goes on. These first few skirmishes around Drake control, for example, she's still very powerful, even while behind. She's actually up 10 CS, but, you know, Ezreal has a massive lead because of that early kill.
Yeah, DuckDom's fine to just avoid Fate's Call and just farm it out here with some of the priority they have down on the bottom side. We may see Johan making a move on this Drake, but actually decides against it for now. Could still hop the wall if he wanted to, but not going to do it. As the wards have been good in the mid lane, Bay is going to spot him right now. Actually pings out the Nidalee as well.
Hello.
Yeah, they have lots of vision actually on their side of the map. Nongshim do, because they want to avoid these early ganks. Like, they are playing defensively. Difficult for Johan to make proactive plays right now with all this defensive stuff. He even went for the Dark Seal here, actually, to try to really snowball this game, and it is just not happening.
Chovy's staying in a bunch of damage here. He's going to be grateful he didn't miss the cannon, but take a look at where Peanut is again. The second that Johan is anywhere near the mid lane, Peanut's there every single time. And so, good luck getting a kill early. If you're Hanwha Life Esports, it's not looking very good.
And sometimes it doesn't even take a kill to actually get this Rift Herald priority, right? I mean, you end up priority, right? I mean, you end up chunking Chovy down to a third health, and he can't challenge that anymore. The waves are crashing, it's hard for him to rotate in. The waves are crashing, it's hard for him to rotate in. Be careful getting sandwiched here. Be careful getting sandwiched here. Close the gap here, Rich. Coming down. I think Hanwha Life Esports have to fight over this. I think Hanwha Life Esports have to fight over this because Chovy's so low on health. To do so because Chovy's so low on health.
They're still going to commit to this, I think. Looking for the smite dominance. Looking for the smite dominance. It's going to go to Johan. Peanut here and now. This is the smite here and now. He's going to be able to ultimate away, but now he's going to be totally on the run. And you can see that Ridge is just left out to dry. So not going very well. Bay, though, is looking for the kill on Vlad. He should pick gets the scraps on his way out, ends up being 2-0-1, but Life able to pick up a kill and the Rift Herald.
Yep. Gets the flash commit there as well, so Bay loses his flash, which makes him a little bit more vulnerable in these next few moments in the mid lane. But I think this was fairly poorly handled by Nongshim. You know, they had the HP advantage, of course, on Chovy, and then, you know, the smite was a little bit late. You know, Johan actually is able to pull the trigger on that. And I think that was actually, Life Esports is like, okay, this is our best case scenario. Like, you could tell by the way they were positioning, they were not hoping to win the fight, but actually just steal the Rift Herald. And they got away with that and got that kill, so this ended up being amazing for Life, and you take that fight even with Chovy is, you know, sitting at just about half health because you know your comp is so strong at this early stage in the game that you need to commit, and works out pretty well for them. A lot of extra gold to them in this early game, which is what their comp needs.
And now they can start getting very proactive, you know, now that they've kind of leaped ahead here in this game, they can exert their force over this Drake. You can see they're getting some deep rewards on in there. So far, both junglers have just ignored the Drake, so not really going for those objectives just yet. I believe that was also mirrored in the stats that we saw earlier on today.
Yeah.
Just kind of going for Rift Heralds, going for money and early gold rather than just the Drakes for both of these teams. This is what I'm talking about. You got to be careful if you're portal jumping. See you later, Bay. No flash. Goes in, looks harmless, and then you just get clapped.
And it wasn't an accident that was the timing that they were able to make this happen, because Vista is actually keeping Peanut busy over here.
Oh, and they're not wasting any time getting in there once again. The Magnet Storm does come in. Deft in a little bit of an awkward spot as in goes Peanut, and Duckdom's able to get the kill now. This was looking so good on the invade for Life, up a member, but at the end of the day, it's actually Duckdom who picks up a kill.
Yeah, Duckdom is now going to get so fed potentially in this game. That's a huge problem for Nongshim. They had the advantage when they got that kill in mid, so they felt like they could actually force the issue here, but it didn't really need to be done. I mean, you'll take that win. The amount of posturing we saw from you know, Vista in the jungle there around blue allowed that play to happen in the mid lane. Look at where they are right now. Actually, he's continuing to make sure that he tracks where Kellen is, and they have total vision control. And this is the first time that the gank is successful because they actually removed all of Nongshim's vision before this. Think was really going to happen, right? I was like, well, I mean, Deft has so many champions who can play very well. A lot of overlap with Duckdom's champion pool as well, and you know, we saw the Senna ban coming through, which gave over, you know, a lot of control of the draft to Life. They got the early Renekton pick, but you know, in this game, Duckdom is, because of that early kill, so able to get a nice lead. Now he has 2 kills, and you know, the dream of Duckdom actually carrying Nongshim might come true in this first game. And that's not something I thought we were going to be saying, you know, in our first game or at all in this series necessarily. Turret plate gold, you know, here massively in favor of Life though. Stat comes up.
Yeah, definitely able to get some nice value out of that early Rift Herald and some of those early plays around that objective. And you can see that the CS numbers in every lane are actually in favor of Life. So kind of overall, the team performing better here. Just, you know, in the little things in the laning phase for the side of Hanwha.
Yeah. You see the gold across the board is, you know, advantage Hanwha at the moment. A lot of that is from the CS.
He doesn't know that Kellen's in this bra. Oh, no, that wasn't Kellen.
I think it was
Peanut, actually.
Peanut.
I knew it was a tanky animal type of figure, but it ended up being the horse and not the cow. The bull, I guess.
Well, the gold leads we saw there, like you mentioned, a lot of CS being the main factor for that, but hold that thought. Kellen is up there. I was going to say, this is how the comp is supposed to be working for Honor Life Esports. They should have a gold lead across the board. That small lead that Duckdom has is actually going to be a big problem later on as he does it again.
Oh, not again. And at least he's able to hop back this time with his flash. Didn't have the flash last time, but you always like to talk about Azir and forcing out flashes. This is another way to do it. I mean, Renekton Italy is just going to have their way with your laning phase, and there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah. Especially with a champion that guarantees spear hits. Every time you end up doing those teleports, you're going to have to really be careful. And honestly, probably just don't do it. Don't trade that aggressively when you don't have vision of where Peanut is. Second Rift Herald. Oh, we're going to have a little bit of a pause. A little bit of brief interruption in the action. But Rift Herald being taken here as Nongshim rotate towards it.
Yeah,
Peanut issue.
I thought that Kellen was going to engage there with the Alistair onto the rail, but they didn't have any vision up in the top river, so maybe just waiting for that. Peanut taking that time to say there might be a small issue.
Yeah, I think one thing that really benefits some of the nerves that Nongsha would normally have in a series like this is that they are playing from home. Something I wanted to mention earlier. This is very unique scenario that's happened obviously because of the pandemic that's happening globally, but that is going to give you at least when I see this big camera shot of Peanut and the ref, I'm like, yeah, they are at home still, in fact, which can definitely make you feel more comfortable. There's no fans screaming every time you imagine if you're Bay, you're nervous, you do that portal jump, you get ganked, you get killed, the crowd screams, and it's like the next time it happens you lose your flash. It can be a very demoralizing type of thing. The crowd is a huge factor that we don't have in this playoffs.
It's very true. It seems like Peanut has some lag, so that's one of those pause issues that you don't want to hear because not always the easiest thing to fix, can't always be easily detected, so may require some testing. But
this is a terrible,
sure.
terrible time for a pause, by the way. If you're Honor Life Esports, you're about to go into this fight, and you are not allowed, the pause is resolved. You're not allowed to talk or discuss anything during these pauses, so you can't be like, all right, I think Alistair's going to engage, like, what are we going to do? You're, like, trapped in this weird moment where you're, like, cannot actually communicate, and and you're like, okay, this fight's about to happen. It seems to be resolved.
Yeah, I caster blessed it. I'm like, no, this is generally a really long issue that might be really difficult to solve, and then they solve it immediately.
Did you just curse it because you haven't gone in game?
No, I would never do that. I believe we're ready to go.
Yeah, it might just be that the lag issue was resolved, but he's still loading into the new lobby. And here we go. Fight breaking out.
Yep, here, okay, just getting right on in there. The damage on Atobi is enough. Actually, the kill will go the way of Kellen. Bates call has to be used, but look at this. Jackson Johan just getting bullied on the other side of this wall. That's going to be a second kill now in favor of Nongshim. As now Kellen looking for more. He wants depth. Nice interrupt from the Rel, but actually just ends up dying himself. Heal is used by Duckdom, but he still actually goes down. But still a massive teamfight win for Nongshim.
4 kills here in this game, and this is the stage of the game where Honor Life should be dominating, and to lose a fight so decisively, and I'm sure we'll have a replay of exactly how it went down, is so troubling. And this is going to be one of those moments where that pause really starts to get on you. You get into your mindset, right, if you're Honor Life, because this fight could have gone very differently, and there could have been a lot of different things that happened. Let's see how it broke out, because we're going to have to go back quite a bit here in time. So you can see Honor Life Esports had the advantage here in mid, and we're going to try to turn this into a Rift Herald. And then Chovy is just completely collapsed on. They didn't have any vision, but didn't respect where Kellen was there. There was a Nidalee trap, and that's it. The Peanut ult here through this choke is so nice. And you stay way too long, in this fight. I think everybody should have got out here further. And then actually, they are going so deep on this one. They know that their comp has really hard engage, and it was so well played. Honor Life, is going to end up losing Peanut there, but they end up, or the Nongshim end up losing Peanut there, but they got 4 kills worth of gold here, and have evened up that gold lead nearly. And this is a terrible, terrible situation now for Hanwha Life Esports. Their comp is going to struggle to scale later on outside of this Vladimir.
Yeah, if you're taking fights like that already as Nongshim, you're feeling really great. Again, Chovy kind of just got caught, right? He stepped up to a control ward, no vision over to the other side, and just got straight up comboed by the Alistair. He wasn't able to do anything in that last fight except run away, get stunned, and die. So Hanwha Life essentially playing a 4v5 in that last fight, and I'm sure they can kind of clean things up before the next one. As Hanwha Life's comp, you want to be the ones engaging. You send your Renekton Rel forward. You're throwing him in.
Your comp is a dive comp, basically.
Yeah, with the Fates Call, you've got Vladimir that has great access to your back line of the enemy team. That's what you want to do. You don't want to be kiting back, because you're not going to enjoy your time at all.
And the game gets so much easier for Nongshim if they end up getting this Mountain Drake as well. Like, they're going to have a lot of extra defensive tankiness, and there's just no way that Hanwha Life Esports can actually contest this right now. Morgan does not have teleport. He is rotating over. They're again going to look for a potential steal. They're wrapping around. I don't know about this one, Hanwha Life.
All right, they're going to go in. That's a nice little combo from the Rel. A lot of damage does come out, but the Mountain Drake taken right on time. Bay now looking to turn it on to Chovy, but he gets stunned up, and now he's being bullied over here. Will take a ton of damage from Death, and Morgan, actually, who will pick up the kill. But the Mountain Drake, at the end of the day, does go the way of Nongshim.
Yeah, Hanwha Life Esports had a really nice engage there from Vista. Without that, I mean, this fight looks completely different. He comes in with a Magnet Storm, and they're able to get a ton of damage done in the early exchange there. And Peanut's ultimate didn't really connect with anybody, so it was kind of an awkward fight for Nongshim. And we'll watch the replay of it in a moment, but they still end up trading back a kill. They still are able to take this Drake. So you can see Vista is waiting on the other side. This is such a beautiful collapse, right? He comes in, flashes, drops down the Magnet Storm. Chovy gets knocked away, which is pretty massive. A lot of that damage on the Duck Down was missed because of that. Really well handled here by Kellen. And you see Peanut's ult was a little bit awkward there. And they're able to trade it back. Morgan doing a ton of damage, as you mentioned. I mean, that is going to be one of the big threats. One of the things that works really well with Hanwha Life's comp later on is he's a scaling champion that works extremely well with dive. So, I mean, you could see if he was in that fight from the beginning, that could have looked very differently with the Magnet Storm to start off.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to be looking for later on in this game, no doubt. But at the same time as Nongshim, I mean, trading one kill for a Mountain Drake against this kind of composition, feeling pretty good. You're going to be able to have some tanky items. I mean, in their comp, they already have Hecarim and the Gragas and the Alistair on top of that. So even the Ezreal and Zoe can potentially build some items later on. It's not a Mountain Soul, but it's definitely going to make things a little bit easier for them to survive against a lot of the damage that does come out from Hanwha Life.
Yeah. And, you know, the group ups that you see here from Nongshim, they're just trying to get any gold they can.
Oh, wow. Actually engaging here is Rel. And you just used 2 ultimates to get nothing.
Nothing.
From Nongshim. Nothing.
I mean, I think they wanted to maybe try to defend the turret there, but that was just never going to work. I mean, it's Duck Dom. He's got his empowered auto with his W on the turret. Like, that's going to go down so fast. That was an extremely risky fight, and they had to use the ultimates in order to not die there. That's rough here for Hanwha Life. There's no objective fight right now, so at least this is not like happening right before a Drake fight, which would be disastrous. But still, it's not something you want to have happen.
Yeah, definitely a pretty awkward one there. But as you mentioned, they have some time to try to recuperate those ultimate abilities and be ready for when the next fight actually does break out.
Yeah.
For now, we're just going to be farming it out here. I actually like throwing Duck Dom in the lane against the Renekton. You see that Chovy is now going to go top and avoid that. Lots of MR going to be built to start off from both the Hecarim and the Gragas. Need to deal with the Nidalee Vladimir, who just bring tons of straight up magic damage.
Yeah, we do see, you know, despite the nerf, that Stride Breaker is going to be built here again for Chovy. It's only a small health nerf. It's still viable for what it's for. I guess you could have arguably seen the Prowler's Claw, which we do see a lot of Renekton's build in the mid lane, but standard build here, nothing out of the ordinary. Just got a Cleaver and his Phage coming up online. We do see a lot of Heal Deny, 2 Oblivion Orbs bought actually in this game, which is going to be really easy to apply for Morgan in a lot of these team fights. very important. Duck you know, doing the standard Essence Reaver build. Very quick Horizon focus, by the way, at this stage in the game. And I'm not entirely sure exactly when he bought it, but he's had it for a little while here, and that's an item that if you get early, it's a huge spike for Zoe.
Yeah, and it's good he got some kind of item because he is nearly getting Flame Horizon by Chovy.
Yeah.
I like how this just casually happens pretty much every game that Chovy plays.
Exactly.
It's just the Chovy buff that's going to come in. But realistically, what has happened is he got behind in the lane, lost some waves, fell behind pretty decently against Chovy, and now in the mid game, they're going to give a lot of this farm to Duckdom. I mean, he's definitely their win condition right now.
Sure.
You've got the tanks that can build around him. The Zoe is not going to be the consistent late game damage. You're going to want a lot of that gold onto the Ezreal and the player of Duckdom. So
yes,
feed all the gold to him if possible. That's what you'd love to do if you are Nongshim, as we do have an engage here once again. And again, it's Nongshim that are pushing into Hamalife, which is what they want to do.
Yes.
And deny Hamalife from doing that to them.
They're going to get some vision control here right before this Drake. You can see the win rate at 25. The gold lead is 100%. They have never lost this season, 22-0. And this might be the first. This might be the first time we see that change because, you know, Nongshim in a really nice position here. They don't have a comp that can rush this Drake down just yet, so they actually don't get to sneak away with it.
Teleport, flank coming in. This is exactly what they want. A huge Magnet Storm comes in. Duckdom has to flash away. But where is the damage out of Hamalife? They finally get that kill, but Duckdom able to trade one back. Trying now to get on top of Bay, as Chovy is just a menace. Nobody can stop him. Kellen is able to do it for a while, but Duckdom gets totally left out to dry. And now there is no front line for Nongshim. Chovy just able to make a huge play and win this fight essentially for the side of Hamalife.
Peanut looks like he might just barely get out of here as the damage was ticking down. He does escape, but that was exactly how this comp is looking to engage, right? You have the Magnet Storm with the, you know, engage that you're going to see from Renekton. Last time it was denied, right, by the headbutt, but this time he's able to flank with the teleport and has an amazing angle to get through there. Duckdom was able to get away from a lot of that damage early on and got a kill, but after that, he couldn't actually close the gap, and Bay just had no escapes anymore. Looks like Rich is actually going to contest this. This is kind of insane.
Pretty interesting. Okay, he's got Peanut nearby. And we have another teleport committed to here. Nongshim wants something off of the back of giving away an Infernal Drake, but they, this time, will get nothing. It's their turn. So Rich is going to go over the wall. Got to be careful here. You've got Vista nearby, but Rich a little bit too tanky at this point in time to take too much damage. But Infernal Drake over to Hamalife, that's exactly what they want at this point.
Yeah, and you know, I appreciate... I really will say it, like, I feel like I appreciate Nongshim trying to make plays like this. It shows a really good confidence in their composition, but just confidence in general. To make a risky play like that, they don't actually get anything out of it, but it would have put them into a huge lead in this game. And to see this team making decisions like that, even though this one didn't work out, to try to slow that Drake down, you know, Peanut was coming, they had Smite, is actually really good to see from a team like this going into a first game of a best of 5. And Sleep.
Okay. Thinking about the cask here, and that's a huge amount of damage coming out from the Ezreal. Big knockup comes in, but Zoe immediately goes down. Duckdom is too far away. He cannot join the fight. They do get death, but look at the rest of the team. Hamalife just cleaning up. Now a double kill for Chovy. As, again, no objectives that they can just rush down at this point, especially without death, but still another one of these team fights that goes the way of Hamalife.
Yeah, and you basically just walked into Hamalife's team fight win condition with the way that Nongshim decided to engage. I mean, they walked right into the Rel Renekton. I mean, they face planted into the fight. So it's pretty easy for the value of that Magnet Storm to go off. As we're going to go back to the Drake fight itself. Go way back here, and you can see that with the teleport, the Magnet Storm combo here is so perfect for Chovy. He gets in. Now, he does not actually get on top of Duckdom, which is why Duckdom is able to throw Fuse over this wall, but he's not in position to do a consistent amount of damage. Then the later part of this, like you said, he got left out to dry. He's kind of over here on the left trying to get that kill on Morgan, and that's what cost. Yeah, that's what cost you this this life there.
He eat over the wall. I mean, you arcane shifted onto Vision in a corridor against Nidalee. You're not going to enjoy your time if you're Ezreal. He had already blown his flash.
You know, they just didn't know Chovy was there, it looks like. And Vista is able to set up the Magnet Storm just based on the vision we had in this replay, because of course you're not going to take this fight if you know that. You shouldn't be if you're Nongshim in this case, and so being a 1-for-2 for them. Is Baron being postured for you? Don't know about this one at this stage of the game.
Yeah, you can potentially do it because of your Callista. You don't have a huge, like, super frontline tank, like a Scion, like a Gragas or a Cho'Gath or something, so you're struggling a little bit to tank up that damage, but you've got pretty good turn, so you can always try to threaten it and see if Nongshim come into you, and maybe you just get a nice team fight off of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can play around this vision, force Nongshim to come to you and make a mistake. Nongshim's comp is all about poke, right, and slow engages. You don't ever want to approach Hanwha Life Esports comp if they can help it. As the first man to the objective is going to have a huge advantage between these two teams with the comp that Hanwha Life has in particular. And vision control, as I love to talk about with Zoe, is basically everything. And we've seen a huge upswing of Zoe recently in the LCK again, and a lot of that is paired with Udyr, who has insanely good vision coverage. The Hecarim is pretty decent at this as well. And you can see it's really easy to clear this vision out and no longer be afraid of this Baron potentially being taken anymore. Yeah. Really important vision control.
We got a little bit of a scuffle over here. Chovy's already level 17, and now we have a fight breaking out in the mid lane. Bay is just isolated alone, but so is Chovy, so we'll see if they can actually kill him here. A ton of damage is coming out from Dom. They're going to blow 2 ultimates to get it, as actually the Ignite from Kellen, thankfully, was onto Chovy, thankfully for Nongshim, as he will go down, creates a 4v4 scenario with this Infernal Drake coming up.
Yeah, this is actually pretty significant too. I mean, a lot of the damage is gone for Nongshim. That's the really important part. Bay will be respawned, and he does have teleport, so that's pretty massive. I'm not 100% sure about the teleport for the Renekton. I don't think he has it yet. And this is a fight that they force because they know Chovy's in trouble, and it was a really good engage. Bay is just a little bit too far out there, and Chovy actually almost escapes, which is incredible. He gets the second dash. He has his stopwatch available, but he does end up getting taken out here with the Ignite. But if he escapes there, it's an insane value trade for Hanwha. And actually, Chovy does have his teleport. So we'll be able to rejoin for this Drake fight along with Bay. Yeah,
the potential, if he didn't have teleport, would have been so nice for Nongshim, because they killed him so late, right? Much later than Bay, who was able to respawn on time. So still is the case. He's looking for a teleport here. He's not going to be able to get a flank, but because he didn't do it right away, actually Nongshim able to just rush down that objective. I mean, and steal away an Infernal Drake.
It's 2 for 1. I mean, you get the teleport too.
Yeah, true.
And that's actually pretty massive in terms of what this Renekton's going to be able to do in a lot of these fights, because as you pointed out, part of the power of the Renekton is the ability to teleport flank. He didn't have the opportunity to do that in this case, but that's part of his engage tools, and that's also why having deep wards is very important for Hanwha Life Esports. And Nongshim are posturing around this Baron, but with, I mean, the positioning here of Hanwha Life Esports, I think it's pretty hopeful at best. Zoe can teleport in, and here she comes.
Yeah, we'll see if they go for a turn or if they want to try to make the rend play happen. It looks like they're just going to back away. They say, this time, we get your teleport.
Exactly. That was the whole, I think, game plan there for Hanwha Life Esports, because, they were not thinking, well, I guess we're going to win this 5v4. They wanted to force the teleport in, prevent the Zoe from getting all that side lane value. As soon as the teleport happens, they walk away and reset. So teleports on cooldown for both mid laners now. And this has been a very, very close game, despite what was an amazing start for Nongshim. And it feels like Hanwha Life Esports might actually be able to pull this off, despite the fact that we've gone to a later game stage here. The Cosmic Drive's up, the Void Staff up for Morgan. Like, he's, hit his 3-item power spike, whereas that's where Vladimir can do a lot of damage in these upcoming team fights. And I'd be amazed, to be honest, to see this happen. And I think Nongshim just really need to be grouped up for most of these engages. They cannot be losing Bay, off on the side before these crucial team fights.
Yeah. You mentioned Morgan, just another great teleport flanker potentially. You come in from behind, you have fantastic backline access. He's got Phase Rush. Doesn't have Ghost, but with the Phase Rush, he's fast enough to, especially if you get a flank off, You get into that squishy backline onto Duck Dom specifically. I mean, look at his build. It's no survivability. It's all the most amount of damage that he could potentially pull out. And you get a combo off on him as the Vladimir at best, or at worst, you're pushing him out of the fight, which is going to be a big win for you. So we'll see what Morgan can do in these fights. He's about to get his flash up here again as well.
Yeah. Really long-range attempt there on the sleep. It's going to delay the rotation, in fact, over here. Valdez, I feel like this game is really on a knife's edge right now. Like the next team fight is going to be extremely important because it's going to really open up the first Baron of the game. And we're at 35 minutes of the game. It doesn't feel like we're that late into the game because it's just been non-stop rotations all the time. Like, this game has kind of flown by, which is so action-packed.
What is going on here? Johan is going to have to flash away. The follow-up comes in, but actually, because of the rel, they got pushed back just a bit. Vista didn't even have to blow anything there, and Nomshim a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger. They had a very squishy Nidalee with no flash knocked up into the air, and they did not commit on in. Or at least they were not able to here. Chovy, they're looking to turn now onto Peanut up on the top side. The Magnet Storm is going to be used as he tries to ghost away to safety, but flashing on in. Here comes Chovy. He will pick up that kill, and they do take away the jungle of Nomshin.
I mean, this should be a Baron. I mean, you can't smite steal anymore. There's nothing you can do whatsoever here to stop this, and it's Kalista damage. You talked about it earlier. They can clear this so quickly. Nomshim are just going to try to commit to this anyways, but I don't think you win this fight.
Yeah, you're going to have to kill Johan. And good luck with that. I mean, they're trying. They're really trying, but Johan's positioning is great. Great, and follow-up here by Morgan trying to get on top of Duck Dom, but now he's a little bit isolated. They turn back on the Baron. He does go down, though.
The Baron's still alive here. Or actually, no, it's taken.
Yeah, no, they get the Baron, and now Chovy getting really low, and they have fantastic chase with the Ezreal, with the Gragas, the Zoe. They're going to be looking to pick up as much as possible. Nomshim get two for now.
They don't deny the Baron, but they might deny these buffs.
Oh, the teleport is even coming in here from Chovy. I don't know if he's going to be able to try to turn this 3v4. I don't know if he's got the damage. Deathbell is going to be able to turn around, and maybe they do. Vista does go down. A huge knockup comes in from Kellen, and may just save the fight, but Chovy's still alive.
He's got a res.
Goes into his GA, and this provides so much space for Jeff to just hop around, but now Peanut's able to join into the fight. Everybody's getting into this one. As with the horsey coming on back, that's going to be another GA that does get popped down. And Deft is going to eventually bite the dust. Chovy will survive somehow. But so much blood has been spilled up in that top lane.
I mean, he committed to a stopwatch earlier. Now he's got the GA. That was such a beautiful engage from Hanwha Esports. Their decision-making actually has been so fantastic at some of these clutch fights where Chovy is doing so much. Remember last time Chovy got caught, they were able to turn that into a pick onto Bay. They're just really decisive in the playmaking that they're doing here. And they are going to push around this Drake right now. This is not something Nomshim wants to give up, but unfortunately with the backs, the timing of this is really tough to contest.
I don't know if they can actually, okay, well, the
Nice
two-shot
try.
rush comes in. That's a lot of damage, and now the smite going to be used on a Chovy. Trying to slow them down. Duck Dom eats a huge spear to the face, and that's just going to have to be Amalite taking the Drake and Nomshim not committing.
This replay, this is going to be okay. This is where the Baron actually went down, and I thought it was reset fully. You can see Peanut is over here on the side, right? Caught, ends up being pushed away. And then in the upcoming fight, actually, Nomshim are able to do quite a bit of damage, you know, and decide to commit in. Look at Duck Dom, like he's so far forward, but there's no, all the ults were used in that previous skirmish where they caught Peanut, so he can actually stand there like that. Visto with a really nice stopwatch here, but it's like actually insane how much damage Duck Dom is able to get away with here. And they commit to the Baron, they get it, but getting out of here is the biggest issue. Meanwhile,
well, not sure why Rich is up there with zero vision alone
whatsoever.
You know, we talked about having veterans and experienced guys in your lineup. Rich has played on some big stages, but here in the League of Legends playoffs of the LCK is going to make a bit of a mistake. And keep in mind, Hanwha Life were able to keep one Baron buff alive. Chovy still has it. So they're able to get this Baron push in and take an inhibitor down.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see the replay as to how that happened, but it just looks like a huge overextension from Rich, and this is going to really turn the map control 100% into Nongshim's favor. And with this inhibitor down at this timing, that gives you such, especially the bot inhibitor in particular, it gives you such a good amount of control over this Infernal Soul. And it's going to be 3 Infernal Drakes to a composition that does struggle in the later parts of the game, but with how Hanwha have been playing this now consistently by doing these engages. Okay, this is just an extended trade with a really long rotation. We can forgive Rich for this one a little bit more, but sadly.
I mean, why is he there, though?
Yeah. I mean, you know, Rich, as you mentioned, I said Rich is the biggest stage for LCK that he's ever been on, but this guy's been to more BlizzCons than Mike Morheim at this point. He has a lot of stage experience, that is for sure. But, you know, it's definitely a bit of an overextension there. Ooh. Nice little steal.
Steals the big raptor.
Duckdom's all about raptors right now.
Okay.
Except not this time, actually. Never mind. He's like, look, you can take this one. I got the other one with my true shot.
Yeah.
Let's make it even. Let's split them.
You can see in the gold that, you know, even though he's supposed to be the big-time carry here, he's not even that far ahead. Johan now is going to be the one that's in an awkward spot, but the teleport may just be able to save him, as now Rich is going to get jumped on here. Once again, the dominance is going to be used. They're trying to get on top of Peanut here, but now with Duckdom around, not going to be easy for Hanwha to engage in this one, but now the huge Magnet Storm comes in. Vista gets the big engage.
He survives.
They do survive, though, and now Toby's going to go down. Duckdom smited him down, and Morgan stays alive. That's going to be so key for keeping this ahead for Hanwha.
Oh, it's so crazy that Vista lived there. Then he gets into the Fate's Call. And, I mean, this composition for Hanwha is just working out. It feels like every single time. And it feels like the MVP, the most valuable champion in this game, has definitely been the Rel. Like, Kalista, you know, is great at setting up some of these engages, but Vista is where he needs to be every time. He's always setting up incredible Magnet Storms.
Oh,
Johan,
man.
he does not have True Shot, but wow.
Yeah, you can see the damage. I mean, Duckdom's full build right now. He could potentially swap out boots if he wanted to. Not sure that he will, as Lucidity boots are pretty good, but either way, you can see how this fight did start.
Yeah, I mean, Johan is caught here by himself, but he's able to escape with his Zhonya's. And you can see, you know, the chasing power of this composition with Hanwha is so empowered by the Rel, right? And Vista decides to press the go button. He goes in, he flash engages and sets up a 4-man Magnet Storm, and then he gets on top of Duckdom and sets up a stun. Now you can see this is a really sad moment actually where, you know, the True Shot Barrage does not finish him off, but the fight is already over, you know, at this stage. Peanut's just trying to turn it around, but this is not going to happen. Such a great engage once again from this Rel.
Yeah.
13 assists right now, 14 out of 16 kill participation here for Hanwha Esports. I think I know where my POG vote's going if Hanwha take this series.
We'll have to wait and see how this game concludes. This is the first game of a best of 5. It's 42 minutes in. We're about to have potential Infernal Soul. Nongshim cannot let them get this.
It's going to be insane how much value you get out of that with all these items completed.
Yeah.
Like, that scales up big time.
Yeah, the scaling of Infernal Drakes and Souls, it's pretty crazy. Not to mention this Vlad is just going to be running all over your team.
Yeah.
Not much you can do about it. His positioning right now is actually pretty nice. I believe he's still around that little hill. Yep, they spot him.
Nongshim handled this very patiently. I really appreciate how careful.
All right, well, they're just going to give that one away. Big engage does come in. Nongshim looking to take the fight afterwards. Big spear onto Duckdom. Peanut in an awkward spot. Will have to ultimate over the wall.
And this is going to be such a hard fight now to take with the soul up.
And look at the base.
Look at the damage.
Base push that's coming in is pretty huge, and Nongshim have to get back to that.
Caught between a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah, I like the posturing here from Hanwha. They're not able to force them into a fight, which would have been nice with the base push, but still able to get a Nexus turret, which is definitely still nice.
I mean, this with the damage and at this stage of the game, you know, if Deft actually is able to sneak in here or something like that, you know, I mean, he can actually just kill a Nexus. Like, this is a very, very backdoorable situation here for Nongshim. You know, if they try to clear out some vision or are grouped up too far away from the, you know, from the Nexus, like, it's just going to be a really hard time. And now, I mean, they have to try to fight this.
Yeah. I think as Nongshim, you can't really give it up. Hanwha will respect the engage, actually. I think you can kind of still hang around and put pressure on, especially with that push that was happening down the bottom side. Thankfully for Nongshim, the inhibitor is going to respawn right on time for this Baron play.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of pressure off.
Watch where Vista is in this fight, because it is going to be him who sets this up once again.
Oh, look at this. Deft is, he's kind of all alone here. He is going to have to flash away.
Oh, Chovy's coming.
We have flanks from every direction.
How are you getting out of this one, Nongshim? Okay, they don't actually get enough. They can't follow through with the minion wave there.
Yeah, the question is, like, who's trapped in here with who?
Yeah.
Deft doesn't have flash anymore. He's going to have to be really careful with his positioning. You can see that Peanut is being annoying with the minion wave. Vista once again looking for the engage, but he's going to have to get Fate's call before the fight even really begins.
Still has his ultimate.
He does. He's very low, though. Chovy with the Dominus looking to potentially engage, but they're pushed away and zoned away. Humalife not able to find a good angle to get and engage in this fight.
Yeah, you could see that when everyone's grouped up and you don't get that teleport flank off, it's much more difficult to utilize the power of this team fight composition. You know, you really need that flank.
Oh, man. This game is just so crazy
It's delivering,
right now.
Valdez. It is absolutely delivering. If our whole best of fives are going to like this in the playoffs, sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are expecting a straight up 3-0. This is not what we're getting here.
Not in this first game. It is definitely not looking like that. The series is going to look like that. Is Peanut trying to look for this engage? Ooh, got to be really careful about using a ghost like that.
Yep, talking about a guy who's been on many, many big stages. Peanut trying to pull his team over the line right now. He had a really nice disengaging ultimate actually down on the bottom side with the 4-man Magnet Storm that did come in. May have even kept them alive and kept the game alive.
Yeah. You know, the power of this full build Ezreal at level 18, you know, at 45 minutes in the game, even he's got one Infernal Drake, you know, is so deadly for Vista. Like, that's Vista's biggest enemy, is actually the Ezreal, which is why you have to have a flanking Morgan, or you have to have a flanking Chovy in these team fights in order to set up the Magnet Storms, because otherwise Duckdom is just going to kill the Rel as she tries to go in, as we saw in that last fight. So, I mean, not only that, but if she gets slept, for example, it is really hard. Like, if you watch this game, you might think, wow, Rel is so easy peasy. Like, why are these fights like so one-sided because of the Rel ults? But actually, to get into a position to do that is very difficult. It's a lot harder than it looks to set up the fights the way Vista has. Speaking of the Ezreal damage.
Duckdom is in such a position to carry here, but there's so much pressure on him to do it because, as I mentioned before, you know, the Zoe can't do it alone. She's got some nice bursts, but late in the game, in the super late game, it's not going to stick that well. You need the Ezreal to do the vast majority of the damage here, and Ezreal can be kind of feast or famine. If you miss a couple of Qs, you're not doing damage. You hit a couple of them, you might just kill someone. So... yeah. Can Duckdom actually get it done? Faye is going to eat a massive spear to the face.
Oh, they're in big trouble here, Kellen.
That's going to be the go button here for Humalife. Kellen is going to have to use that Unbreakable Will, as now they have zoned away Nongshim from the Baron, and they might just look to burst it down.
I mean, Bay is backing. He has teleport, but Humalife has such a quick clear time at this stage in the game, too. Like, you know, it's just going to go down so fast. You have to be decisive. You cannot be slow if you're Nongshim here. Not this time. You can't be patient.
Pool is going to be used here by Morgan, and the engage is not good for Vista. He does follow up with the flash, though. But again, Chovy's not here. Oh, Bay, he overstepped. He's just going to go down just like that. But Duckdom gets a massive ultimate into the back line.
This is not fightable for Humalife anymore. They need to get out of here.
So many ultimates have just been popped. Morgan still has his, though.
Johan looking for the flank potentially here. If he hits a spear onto Duckdom, they can turn it, but he does not get the opportunity to do so, Valdez.
Elder is about to spawn to 45 seconds. Death now.
No, they don't have vision. They don't have vision here. They know.
Okay, they know. They're pushing in. They don't know about Chovy here, but they might. They might have seen him go in there. Gonna spot him now, as they're a little bit split up here. A lot of the damage has to come out from Duckdom to E forward. And can they actually take the fight? That's a big ultimate coming in from Peanut, and he forces out the one from the Vladimir. So much damage comes out from Death on a Duckdom, as he is going to E away, but he gets the kill. The TA goes down, and they should be able to get on top of Duckdom now. He cannot get away, and it looks like Humalife have just barely done it. They may have pulled themselves over the finish line here at 48.5 minutes.
Rich is just trying to delay in this game, but the Elder Drake is up. It will be taken very easily here. And with the Elder buff and everything else, I mean, how do you not walk down the finish line and win this game? Rich is buying some good time.
Rich actually did some great stuff there. No push is going to come into the mid lane. Elder will be free for Life, as you mentioned.
Uh-oh. I was a little bit worried that Chovy might overextend there. Really nice trouble bubble. Sad that it's not in a crucial moment here, but they do end up getting the Elder buff. And now they're going to turn their eyes towards the Baron, and with Peanut down for 25 more seconds, I mean, I don't know how much I can overstate. The timing is pretty bad here for Nongshim to have any sort of chance in this ensuing fight. Rich loses his flash early, and Rel is able to get a little bit of value out of that, but at this point, I thought the fight was going to be over. And then Chovy has this sick flank angle once again. Vista gets taken out, but that's not who you really want dead in this team fight. He already did his job. And you know, we roll it forward here. You can see Peanut is just so zoned out of being able to contest the Baron. They do force a reset here, but look at the damage that comes through from Callista actually onto Duckdom in a second. Like, Callista is so fed, and if Callista can get into range, it's just insane how much she could do. Like, Duckdom's basically getting two-shot by him.
Yeah.
And like,
and that's it. Deft gets the job done.
You know, if you don't die as Duckdom here, maybe you can actually sneak another kill away, but
yeah.
It's just too rough. It's the range problem when it's actually solved for the Callista. She does way too much damage. It's too easy.
Yeah, you get a couple of those spears into the back of that Ezreal, and you might just be able to solve that problem. They take away all of the damage from Nongshim by taking him out. And now, for at least another minute, they have to deal with the Elder. This is kind of the game-ending push that Riot has designed for the game.
Minions win this one, I think, Valdez.
After 40 minutes, you get Baron, you get Elder, you're not supposed to lose. And they're just going to try to engage straight up here. They're going to get on top of Bay. He just pops immediately. Executed by the Elder. Down goes Rich. Peanut just barely is going to survive. But it does not matter because the game is done anyway. Life, it wasn't easy, but it looks like they will be able to pick up the game at 51 minutes. They come through and make it happen.
That's definitely top 5 longest games of the season, and it's how we start our playoffs here at the LCK Spring, and what a game it was. I think it's a game that if you're Nongshim, you still feel very good about this. You handled the early game very well. I'm not just talking about those 2 first kills that were fed over, but they also were able to defend each and every gank attempt, right? Peanut was always where he needed to be. They played very well around Life Esports win conditions in the game, had really good vision control for a large majority of it. Bay had some critical mistakes in positioning, you know, which unfortunately at this point in time is something that, you know, we have criticized him for a lot. But even he played pretty well in the early parts of the game. Like, I feel like for Nongshim, yeah, you lost the game. It was a grueling one. You're exhausted. But I think you should walk away from that one feeling pretty good about your chances of making this a competitive best of 5.
I mean, it's clear that Nongshim are good enough to take games off of Hama Life. The question is, can they come back from a deficit and take a best of 5? We don't know. I mean, I think that the draft from Hama Life was very interesting. Start off a game, won a best of 5 in that manner. Very aggressive. Your level 1 Gambit fails, and you're still just barely able to claw over the line. It's a good sign for Hama Life that they do eventually make it happen, but we were expecting cleaner wins from Hama Life as well.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a much closer game than I think anyone expected to see at all in this series, right? Like,
for sure.
I think that most people thought if Nongshim was going to win games, they were going to do it in their own one-sided fashion, right? Where they have a really cool draft diff, right? We haven't talked about it too much. We talked about it in the Pog State. This is, for Nongshim, a series where you're very likely to actually see a crazy, weird pick because it's so important to hide strategies for every other team. But if you're Nongshim, you just have to win. Like, you're so the underdog. I think we will see some crazy stuff later on in this best of 5 for sure.
Eventually, they'll have to pull something out. We have the post-game breakdown ready. We can hop into that and see some of the numbers from this game. 51 minutes.
Look at the damage from Duckdom.
Oh, he almost hit 666. Oh. Not quite. He got 667.
We rounded that one up.
Yes, probably. Yeah, he almost did double the damage of his opponent, 80 carry. And again, it was all in his lap. The second Duckdom died, the game was over.
I mean, look at the damage numbers across the board for every player on Life Esports. The Infernal Soul plus 3 Drakes stacked on top of it really makes this comp work out a lot better, actually. It makes your dive composition actually succeed. Like, Renekton does more damage than he's supposed to in some of these exchanges because you have all those Infernal Drakes. So it ended up being very fortunate for them that they were able to have that as the Soul and also were able to get all that Drake control. Very good start to our series here, man. I'm hoping for more.
That was a crazy game number 1, guys. We're going to take a quick, much-needed break for the teams and for us. When we come back, we will have game number 2. Don't go anywhere.